Every ocean hides a truth, and every tide brings it closer to the shore. They broke the mirror beneath the sea, but the sea never forgets. For so long, we've chased shadows, echoes of a forgotten world, believing the ocean was merely a grave for secrets. But we were wrong. It was never a grave. It was a cradle, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The journey has been long, the storms relentless. We've lost friends. We've lost ourselves, all in pursuit of a reflection we could barely comprehend. We thought we were solving a mystery, but we were just retracing the steps of our own past. A past buried so deep, even the water couldn't wash it away. The mirror wasn't just a portal, it was a memory. And by shattering it, we didn't destroy the connection, we released Italiano. Now, as the sun rises on what feels like the final day, the water is unnervingly calm. The air is still, heavy with anticipation. On the deck, Mara stands, a silent sentinel, her eyes glowing with a light that doesn't belong to this world. She knows what's coming. We all feel Italiano. A whisper carried on the salt-laced wind, a promise from the depths, it's time. The storm had passed, but silence never felt so heavy. A profound quiet has settled over the ocean, the kind that precedes either a great peace or a terrible reckoning. Beneath our ship, the vagrant soul, something stirred. It wasn't the familiar creak of wood or the groan of the hull. It was deeper, more ancient. And the ocean itself was breathing. The ship began to tremble, not from a wave, but from a pulse of light that bloomed in the abyss below. Around us, the water defied gravity, rising in slow, shimmering curtains, floating upward instead of falling. We stared, mouths agape, as the sea gave up its ghosts. From the depths, ethereal shapes began to ascend, the lost explorers we'd read about in forgotten logs, the villagers from the coastal towns swallowed by the tide centuries ago, countless souls we thought were gone forever. They weren't menacing. They were who's there, glowing with a soft, sorrowful light. The captain, a man who had seen everything the seven seas had to offer, could only whisper, "They're coming back." But Mara, her gaze fixed on the rising spirits, corrected him. Her voice was steady, filled with an ancient understanding. No, they're remembering. An ethereal hum filled the air, the sound of 1,000 forgotten memories resonating at once. The very heartbeat of the ocean seemed to slow, synchronizing with our own, pulling us into its grand final act. From the deep rose the Guardiana whole again, its stone skin shimmering with the light of living Cora. It rose like a mountain from the sea, water cascading from its immense form, its presence dwarfing our ship, dwarfing the sky itself. The ocean around it turned a brilliant, liquid gold. It looked at USA, its colossal eyes filled, not with the anger we expected, the fury of a desecrated deity, but with a profound, heart-breaking sorrow. As its gaze fell upon each of us, we saw our own reflections in its ancient eyes. But behind our faces, images flickered, lives we never knew we lived. A fisherman casting his net under a prehistoric moon, a priestess chanting to the waves, a child building a sandcastle that mirrored the city below. The Guardian's voice echoed, not through the air, but inside our minds. A sound like thunder, and the gentlest tide combined. The sea remembers all who forget their truth. The tide will carry what must return. And as the final, colossal wave began to rise, not to crash down upon us, but to lift us, we finally understood. This wasn't punishment for our ignorance or our arrogance. This wasn't an end. It was a homecoming. It was rebirth. The ocean swallowed the ship, the sky, the stars. We were consumed by an endless, blinding light, a moment of pure, terrifying, and beautiful oblivion. But in that void, we weren't lost. We saw. We remembered. We saw what we had built eons ago, what our forgotten selves had crafted with magic and devotion. A city beneath the waves, not in ruins, but alive, pulsing with light and energy, its crystalline spires reaching for a sun they hadn't seen in millennia. We were no longer sailors on a ship. We were glowing silhouettes, shedding our mortal forms like old coats, our true selves emerging from the shells we'd inhabited. Mara drifted towards the Guardian, her hand outstretched. In it was the red pendant, the heart of the sea, the key we'd searched for all this time. She gently placed it upon the Guardian's chest, and it pulsed with a blinding crimson light. The city below flared with life. The sea calmed instantly, and the all-consuming light softened into a gentle embrace. Mara's voice, a soft whisper that held the weight of eternity, echoed in the calm. The sea takes, but it also gives back. The light faded, and we found ourselves not in an abyss, but floating in the gentle dawn. The ship was gone. We were gone. All that remained on the surface of the now peaceful ocean was a single pendant, floating on the water. It was cracked, its long journey over, but it still glowed with a soft, warm light. They say, when the tide is quiet, and the morning is still, you can hear their voices beneath the waves, not crying out in loss, but singing in joyous reunion, because every ending is just another beginning. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the hidden seas of time. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more adventures to come. We'll see you on the next time.